Yinka, Tolu, and Charles were childhood friends who hailed from the same community in Akoko clan, a hilly place full of rocks, high hills, and valleys in the northern part of Edo State, Nigeria. They were all of the same age range and in the same class. Despite the fact that they were all of the same age range, Yinka was far above them academically and almost everything they do. In the school, he was loved by all subject teachers because of his stable character and very brilliant academic performances. He was also made the head boy of the school. All of them graduated and proceeded to attend the same university at the western region of Nigeria. While they were in 200 level, Yinka got a scholarship from his village community scholarship board, all still due to his intelligence and sound character. Few years later, after completing their course, they left the university. Yinka got a job from an international firm that gave him the opportunity to travel around the world. Tolu and Charles were not that fortunate. They both managed some menial jobs for some times and the income was not enough to take care of themselves and they decided to relocate to another major city from where they were. So, they met Yinka for some financial support as usual. He tried persuading them to stay back for a while and hustle more. They made up their mind telling him how they met one of their secondary school classmates in the village when they went for their village yam festival. And how the said classmate of theirs is doing so well in town, and he has asked them to come over to the city where he lives so that he can assist them to start a business. Yinka was skeptical because he knew the boy in question back in school days to have dubious character. You two are adults and you should be able to make the right decisions for yourselves, he said. They spent the weekend in his house whining and dining. He set them off by giving them some money to start something with. They got to the city and located Andy. Though a bit difficult, they finally met him where he and some of his friends were. They were surprised to see how massive he has become. According to him, he is into properties and automobile business representing different international manufacturing companies. Before taking them home, he took them round different beautiful places of interest while they watched their host being greeted by different people in different grand styles. What they saw and experienced was too amazing to belong to their friend. They were all too big to be real for Andy, their rude and unserious classmate, they thought in their hearts. At home, Andy gave them an unimaginable treat at dinner with different chefs and maids on ground to serve them. At the table, they narrated the reasons why they came. Is either he employs them to work with him or he teaches them the business so that they too can stand on their own. Andy took time and cunningly narrated what and how long it took him to get to the stage where he was now. They told him they were ready to pay any price to become like him. As Andy kept talking about the great price he paid, and that they will pay, they never asked him the details of the price he talked about, and from every indication they never really care. All they wanted is just to be wealthy like their friend Andy so they can flaunt wealth like him and even more. Let me pay the price whatever it is so that I can give myself and my sibling a better life, Tolu said. What about getting married? No woman wants to even have any serious relationship with me. Once they stay for a while and I'm not able to meet their demands and pay their bills, they found their way out. Charles said mockingly. I will do something, pay this price Andy talked about. I will blow, count my currency and become one of the big boys in town, then I will marry any type of woman that I want, ride the big cars I love, live in the kind of mansions I like, go on trips to different countries I want. After all, Andy that is enjoying all this thing does not have 2 or 3 heads, just one head like my own. Hey, come see something. Tolu called his friend's attention to video clips on his phone. Come and see some Yahoo boys. Just look at the way they are throwing currency. They are just displaying money as if there is no tomorrow. Don't worry, in few days or weeks' time they will come and learn from us. All we need do is to pay the price. Charles said. The price. The price. Do you know I am still trying to wrap my head around the kind of price that is talked about. Charles, do you know the price? Tolu asked. There is no need for questions and counter-questions. You are not a village headmaster. Why not let us ask Andy? Ode suggested. They went to meet Andy surprisingly. Andy didn't tell them the price to pay or how to pay the price, he only re-emphasized their sorry and suffering state to them, letting them know that there is no price that is worse than the suffering and state of lack they are already in, and started to give them example of the kind of lifestyle they're supposed to be living now and how that lifestyle will come to reality in few days' time if they can just put themselves together and avoid unnecessary questions. Or on the contrary, they should stay and watch themselves suffer and live in abject poverty if they refuse to take bold steps and stop living with men that has weak mind. He finally informed them that they will be told the price they are to pay when they get to the meeting tomorrow night, or they should get ready to go back from where they came from first thing tomorrow morning. Finally, he warned them sternly not to tell anyone. That is the first test, he re-emphasized with a wicked smile. Tolu and Charles were lost in deep thought when Andy left their view. Finally, Tolu spoke out his thoughts. What just happened? I have this kind of strange feelings I cannot explain. He went on his knees and tears rolled out of his eyes. After a few seconds on his knees, he exploded into something that looked like someone who just has a nightmare. No. No. Nothing will stop me, nothing can stop me. I am a man that lacks everything life has to give. Perhaps this is the God-given opportunity one have been praying for. I will not miss this for anything. Yes, I will do it. I am ready for it. I will change my story. I will change my state of life. I will change that of my family. For me, Charles interrupted, speaking emphatically, I have put my hands on the plow. I am not looking back. It's either I break or I bend. I am ready for either of them. The next night, Tolu and Charles got ready and were waiting in their room to be called out by any of the maids on the instruction of Andy. Instead, the security guards came and handed them a pact of well-ironed sewn white material with a cap to fit. Oga said you should dress with this, the security man said. They complied. They didn't want to ask any questions to avoid upsetting Andy. Even if they had the courage to ask, they couldn't because Andy was on a long call throughout their journey to the meeting place. What surprised them was that Andy spoke on a very low tone, and the little they could pick from their eavesdropping, the discussion was about them. To their surprise, Andy took them to an eatery and ordered food for them to eat. I was told you both refused to eat since morning. That is why I brought you here to eat. You know, he jokingly continued, the journey you are about to embark on is long and stressful, so you need to equip yourselves. They were served sumptuous meals and drinks of their choice. When it was 12 a.m., Tolu and Charles looked at each other. They became very uneasy. Andy noticed it and told them that he was waiting for some of his business partners that are also members of the meeting they are going to. In few minutes, the said business partners came. They walked in as if they did not notice Tolu and Charles, took some drinks, and they all left for the meeting. Tolu and Charles noticed that they were the only ones that are dressed with white. Everyone else was either wearing black or red with different funny styles. So, they all left the restaurant. On their way at a particular junction, they all, except Charles and Tolu, came out from the car to perform a sacrifice. The strange thing that happened was that after that sacrifice, a calabash was given each to Tolu and Charles. From there, they all left to the venue for the meeting. The venue for the meeting was a very large building with a very high wall. There were lots of armed men. Charles and Tolu were told to wait at the waiting room until they were sent for. They were later taken to another room separately where they were interviewed and made them to take oaths, vows and covenants. They were then taken to the general meeting with their eyes tied like sheep before their slaughter. They were not given the opportunity to see or ask anything. They really didn't know the makeup of the meeting. They were given some substance to eat from a calabash and another substance to drink from a pot tied with curries. All this they did with their eyes still tied. In a section, all the men went around them, touching them on their foreheads, their chest and their manhood. At this point their eyes were untied, incisions were made on their body with lots of incantation done. To their surprise, the room became dark suddenly and a large mirror stood in front of them. They were given pots tied with cowries with lots of different fetish items on the inside. This is now your God, put it inside a room that should not be accessed by nobody except you. On no account should this pot be seen or touched by anyone else, the chief priest of the cult group said. The wealth is not transferable and is not for family members. He continued, you are not allowed to marry and bear children. You have exchanged your manhood for your wealth. Exchange manhood for wealth. This got them thinking, is it the huge price? But it was too late. On their way home feeling very worried, Tolu brought up the matter. Andy, does it mean I am not going to have a family of my own? To their greatest surprise, Andy warned them sternly not to ever ask him any question on this. Have you ever seen me with a woman? I also paid this same price years ago and I am still paying the price. Let me shock you, you are going to be renewing this vow yearly. This is my 5th year. I have paid huge prices. With what are you now using for the renewal of the vows and charms? Charles asked, I told you not to ask me any question. You will know it when you get there. Time will teach you the sacrifice to pay. Discussion on this closed. To their greatest surprise, their friend Andy, that used to be friendly and jovial, had turned to another man. He has become so rash and unruly. In few months they got into an unexplainable wealth. They started living the kind of life they had always desired to live. Rich and reckless. They have been told the wealth will continue as long as they are ready to pay the price for renewal. They will pay any price if they can pay with their manhood. Which price would they not pay? They thought. Yes, they became rich, but their peace left them. They got the wealth that nobody in their family is allowed to enjoy. News travels like light. The news of Tolu and Charles' wealth and their new style of life soon got to their community. Their level of wealth was discussed by any group you see together in the community. Oath and covenant renewal were getting close, they were reminded in the last meeting they attended. Meanwhile, throughout this period of their mysterious wealth, they never visited home or sent any gift or money to their family members. They have been warned that if they try to do so, they will face the consequences, which according to them is very grievous, and since they didn't know the grievousness of the consequences, they didn't bother to break the rule. One fateful day, Kemi, Tolu's younger sister, came visiting. What happened was a sorry sight. Tolu's mother had fallen ill and the village herbalist had tried to treat her but to no avail, and the family now decided to try the hospital. The bill was so huge that they could not handle it. They sent messages several times to Tolu telling him about the situation. He kept giving them unnecessary excuses. It then dawned on them that something was wrong. So, Kemi had to travel to town to look for her brother. Through the description given to her, she got to the entrance of the gate. She was not given access because his brother Tolu denied her access. He sent one of his protocol officers to her that she cannot see him. Kemi tried to explain all their predicaments to the officer: their mother's health condition in the village, their level of poverty and lack. The protocol officer showed and told Kemi the massiveness of her brother's wealth in confidence and wondered why he does not want to help them. Hearing this, Kemi started crying and refused to be consoled. This attracted a huge crowd at the gate. When the news got to Tolu, he came to the gate and warned the security not to let her in. Kemi was shocked. He told Kemi to go back to the village, that he will come to the village first thing the next day. All is just to discard her. It was already late for the journey. Kemi begged her brother to let her pass the night. He refused. Kemi didn't have money with her. He asked the security to give some money to her. For he could not give her his money because of the covenants. Tolu watched Kemi cried out of the gate without him not able to give solution. What kind of prize is this, he thought in his mind. I have all the wealth in the world and my family members cannot enjoy it with me. He went to the corner of the house, sat down and cried. He cast his mind back on how his mother suffered in the village to fend for him and his siblings. She hawked in the market, washed clothes for women like her, all for her to be able to put food on their table and help with their school expenses after they lost their father. Now the same woman needs help he cannot give her. Is this wealth worth having? To worsen the whole story, I can't even go home tomorrow to see her. What is the point seeing her and my siblings without giving them money and paying their bills? What kind of prize is this? How can I deliver myself from this trap and bondage? What if my mother dies? I will not forgive myself. Let me call Charles if he has any solution to this. Kemi on her own side was so surprised at what is happening to her, her brother and her entire family. Is my brother a ritualist? Is he a cultist? Is he a Yahoo boy? What explanation can someone give to all these happenings? What kind of wealth is my brother enjoying? Imagine the kind of mansion my brother is living, see the cars, the maids, the security men in the compound. What is happening? Am I dreaming? Can somebody wake me up? This can't be real. How can two different worlds exist at the same time? Down in the village we can barely feed. We can't pay bills. My mother is at the point of losing her life because of poverty. Someone please wake me up. This is not real. Anyways, when he gets to the village tomorrow, the family will see to this. She consoled herself with these words and got water to wash tears off her face. If you liked the video, please subscribe to this channel and find out what happened next in part 2 of this story. Thanks for watching.